let's check in with meteorologist Adam Klotz for our Fox weather forecast.
Hey, good morning, y'all. For a big weather system like you're talking about, we obviously need cold air. There is plenty of that out there. Frigid temperatures. These are your wind chills across the northern plains, the upper Midwest right now. Negative 43 is what it feels like in Minneapolis. Look at that, negative 32 in Chicago. All of this cold air is going to be mixing with some moisture that's going to be sweeping across the country. And then all of a sudden, look at all these winter weather advisories, from extreme cold to cold weather advisories. All of this ultimately turning into big winter storms that are sweeping across the country. The cold air is going to be a part of this because ice is likely going to take down power lines. I'll show you more on that in just a minute. We're kind of still waiting for this to come together. This is some of that energy that's going to be shooting out of the desert Southwest, ultimately running across New Mexico, getting into Texas, Oklahoma. That is where this entire system begins before it sweeps across the rest of the country. On the southern tier of this system, you're looking at a big ice maker. On the northern end of this, that is where the snow is going to fall. In the snow, you could be seeing large swaths of the country that could be seeing a foot of snow, but beginning with that ice, that could be the most dangerous of all this. Obviously, it's going to make driving really difficult, but when you start to talk about half of an inch of ice, maybe up to an inch of an ice, that takes down power lines, that takes down trees, and then that takes down power, maybe for days in some of these locations. But you're getting into Texas, the Dallas area, probably from Little Rock, getting over into Mississippi. These are areas where the ice is going to be the worst, and then it's going to, again, really thicken up as you get into the mid-Atlantic, get into the Carolinas, get into the Virginia area. Those are the spots where the ice will be the worst. Those are the spots where we're looking at the most widespread power outages. Everything here in the red are places where the power could go down and go down for days. If it does so, look at the temperatures behind this. So you're talking about power out, and then feels like temperatures by Sunday morning, or actual temperatures or wind chills. There we are. Negative 5 degrees, 1 degree in Dallas, negative 11 degrees in Oklahoma City, 0 in Little Rock. Frigid temperatures for folks trying to ride out these power outages. Otherwise, just a little bit to the north of that, we start to talk about snow. These pink colors, maybe 8 inches of snow, getting up towards a foot of snow in some of these cases. That continues to be the case as you ultimately push up along the northeast. All of these purple colors, 12 inches of snow. I wouldn't be surprised if some of these areas saw 14, 15, 16 inches of snow. Isolated areas will see more than that. I-95 corridor is going to be a big spot to pay attention to. Snowfall totals could be really impressive. That going Sunday into Monday. So this is a storm that begins later today, and it's going to take us all the way through the weekend into early next week. Guys?
All right. Thanks so much. Let's bring in Ken Graham, director of the NOAA's National Weather Service. Ken, this seems pretty bad, the longest in so many years. And the thought is, to the last minute, we're wondering, did anything change? From your models, could anything change at the last minute?
Well, you know, what's not going to change is this is going to be a big, impactful event. I mean, I was looking at our weather.gov website, and 2,000 miles of watches and warnings. It's just absolutely incredible. More than half the country is going to experience winter weather, so not much is going to change. There's small details, how much snow, how much ice, a little movement north and south, but the big takeaway for the public is you got to be ready. This is a big, impactful storm, three-pronged, right? You're going to have the cold air coming in that's going to last for more than a week. You're going to have the snow, 8 to 12 inches, if not more in some places, and the devastating, catastrophic in some areas, ice that could knock out power, knock down power lines, trees, and that's a prolonged event and a dangerous event. So air travel, ground travel, a big impact, that's not going to change. That's going to happen.
You know, Ken, what's your advice to people who might be thinking about, should I go to work on Monday? Do we send the kids to school on Monday? Or school districts that are watching? What's your advice for if someone has something planned, a meeting? Give us Give us some of your advice, please.
I love that question. And it's because everyone's thinking this, right? Like, what can I do? Can I travel? The big thing is just stay off the roads. I mean, listen to the local officials is the big thing. I mean, there's, check on each other. There's warming shelters. Local officials are setting up, different resources for people. But the big thing is listen to local officials. If schools are closed, stay home, stay put. Because it's not just the snow. In some places, it's the snow, and it'll be sleet and ice. We're going to have large areas of sleet, making travel absolutely hazardous. So the big thing is, stay home, have supplies, and be ready.
So the maps we're looking at show the storm's movement eastward as it comes from the west towards the East Coast. And from what I see, I mean, if you're all the way from Charleston up north of New York, you're in a bullseye right there.
Yeah, absolute bullseye. And it's interesting, the track makes a difference. I mean, these small movements in any of the parameters, right? The cold air or the low pressure coming out of the desert Southwest, or even the moisture. We have a warm area of moisture coming up at about 10 to 12,000 feet. What that means is those are the areas that we can see where you could get that freezing rain and that dangerous freezing rain area. So we've actually thrown everything at this at NOAA. We have an aircraft that went out to the Pacific to see how strong the low is out in the Pacific and the desert Southwest that moves across. And the Gulf of America, we have another aircraft out there looking at how much moisture. We've thrown everything into this forecast to try to pinpoint those danger areas. So, yeah, looking at that bullseye you mentioned, the bullseye in the Northeast, the bullseye Oklahoma, all the way towards portions of Tennessee, Kentucky, any one of these areas, Arkansas could see some of that ice and snow. Just the expanse, 2,000 miles. I mean, it's just an absolutely huge storm.
It's so weird. In the South, they're not used to it. I remember going to the Super Bowl in Dallas, and it was just a little bit of ice, and it was cataclysmic. They just couldn't handle it. But to give this to people in Buffalo, that's cold any other day almost. So in the big picture, you worry about the grid. What should we, is there anything that could be done now to prepare cities and protect cities, make sure that power grid is viable?
I think a lot of it is just the public being ready, right? There's going to be areas that you can't help it. I mean, it's hard to protect power lines from trees that fall or power lines that fall from a ½ inch to an inch of ice. And at first that doesn't seem like much, right? A ½ inch or an inch, that is an incredible amount of weight on a power line. So the advice to everybody is, have ways to be able to protect yourselves if you lose power. How do you keep warm? How do you have food? What do you do? But one thing I do want to mention, I was Hurricane Center director, and I've seen this so many times. I see it now. Please, everybody, just reminding everybody to be careful with using generators. Yeah. So power's going to go out. People are going to use generators. Don't put them in the house. Get them away from the house. I've seen this too many times over my 31 years, people losing their lives with a generator. So just asking everybody, please remind
you're supposed
people
to put
use
it
them.
outside, right?
Yep, exactly.
Yeah. Or in the garage. Can you put it in the garage if the door's closed?
Yeah, I would get it outside.
Okay.
I would get it absolutely outside. Wouldn't even take those chances. Yeah.
Okay. I heard they can't. I saw one report, a guy was trying to find a generator in Texas, went to so many different stores, gone. So shop right now for groceries, get water, get a generator if you can.
And stock up on all your firewood.
Yep. Thank you so much.
Want even more Fox News on YouTube? Become a Fox News Patriot today. Click join to find out how.